Hare Krishna,
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु।
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु।
Dandavat pranam. Okay.
हरे कृष्णा। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada. So thank you so much for sacrificing your valuable time. Finally, we are having the session tonight. All right. What is more convenient for all of you here for Sunday? In the morning or in the evening?
प्रभु मॉर्निंग प्रभु हरे कृष्णा।
Morning, yeah? Yeah, I also
E-
feel actually the
Evening,
morning is
Prabhuji,
better.
Hare Krishna.
Evening, morning, evening. Okay. Anyway, let's just stick with our regular schedule. Only tonight we are having it Sunday in the evening. Somehow or other this morning I was freaked out. Being a conditioned soul, I also can be freaked out. Okay. Om Jnana Jnana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shwapadantikam Vande Aham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavansha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Shahagana Raghunatham Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Radhika Sri Visakan Vidhamcha Hey Krishna Karuna Shindu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Tam Karoti Vachalam Pangulam Hayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamahang Vande Shri Paranam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, welcome to all of you to our Bhakti Sastri discussion. Today we are continuing the last part of the chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter entitled The Divine and Demoniac Nature. So just to remind all of us again what we have discussed in the previous class, that in the beginning, Lord Krishna explained to Arjun what are the divine qualities, yeah? What are the divine nature, and then what are the demoniac nature, what are their tendency, what are their destination, what are the results of their action. Yeah. So most of the discussion is hinting about the demoniac qualities. Yeah. So with that brief refreshment from chapter 16, the previous discussion on chapter 16, we will continue today. So from text 21 to 24, yeah, this is the last section of this chapter. All right. Giving up demoniac tendencies and following scriptures. The result of performing demoniac activities is to be cast by Krishna into the lower species and other types of hellish life, because lust, anger, and greed are the beginning of demoniac life. All sane men should give them up and understand their duty by faithfully following the scriptures. The ultimate difference between divine and demoniac is that the divine follows scriptures, whereas demons do not. Okay. Here, one of the very famous slokas from the Bhagavad Gita that quoted by Srila Prabhupada many times. Yeah. Trividham narakashedam dwaram nashanamat marha kama krodas tatalobas tasmat etat trayam jaj. There are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give this up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. Prabhupada. The beginning of demoniac life is described herein. One tries to satisfy his lust, and when he cannot, anger and greed arises. A sane man who does not want to glide down the species of demoniac life must try to give up these three enemies, which can kill the self to such an extent that there will be no possibility of liberation from this material entanglement. Yeah. So remember, in the previous discussion, we see that how Krishna treats those who are demoniac. Yeah. Krishna says, perpetually I cast them to the lower species of life. Yeah. But then Srila Prabhupada explained in his purport that actually, even by doing so, this is actually the manifestation of Krishna's mercy. When these demons, they are fortunate enough to be killed directly by the Lord, they get liberation. Yeah. So Krishna will be always act on the same platform, yeah, on the equal level. Yeah. But of course, he is more lenient toward the devotees, and that is natural. Yeah. So here, very important verse here, that Trividham Naraka Shedam. There are three things that leads us to hell. Yes. Kama, Krodha, and Lobha. So Krodha and Lobha is actually the product, I would say, produced by karma. Yeah. So there are two things happening because of karma. When one can fulfill his karma or lust, then greed will appear. Yeah. You are wanting for more. But when the karma is unfulfilled, then krodha will appear. You become disturbed, you become frustrated, you become angry. Yeah. So krodha and lobha is actually the byproduct of karma itself. Yeah. So every sane man, tasmat etat trayam tyajet. Krishna clearly mentioned here that every sane man must give up these three things because naraka ashyedam. This is the gates toward the hell. Yeah. Okay. Text 22. The man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs act conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. One should be very careful of these three enemies to human life: lust, anger, and greed. The more a person is freed from lust, anger, and greed, the more his existence becomes pure. Then he can follow the rules and regulations enjoined in the Vedic literatures. By following the regulative principles of human life, one gradually rises himself to the platform of spiritual realization. If one is so fortunate by such practice to rise to the platform of Krishna consciousness, then success is guaranteed for him. By cultivating knowledge of this process, one can be elevated to the highest position of self-realization. The self-realization is perfected in devotional service. In that devotional service, the liberation of the conditioned soul is guaranteed. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, there are instituted the four orders of life and the four statuses of life, called the caste system and the spiritual order system. There are different rules and regulations for different castes or divisions of society. And if a person is able to follow them, he will be automatically rises to the highest platform of spiritual realization. Then he can have liberation without a doubt. So there are two Very important point here from Srila Prabhupada's purport. Prabhupada mentioned that self-realization is perfected in devotional service. So the Mayavadis, they know that they are not the body. Yeah, aham brahmasmi. Is that self-realization? Yes. But it is half perfect. Unless one performs devotional service to the Lord, then his realization cannot be perfect. Yeah. So self-realized means understand completely that one is not the body. But then higher to that is that one should understand the sambandha tattva between the jivas and the Paramatma, yeah, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. That is one thing. Therefore, although there are so many so-called renowned people, yeah, there are so many Babas, as long as they are not engaging themselves in the service of the Lord, doesn't matter how detached they look like in this material world, unless and until they perform devotional service, their realization cannot be perfect. That's the first point. The second point, Srila Prabhupada points out here about the Varna and Ashram system. Yeah, but of course, Varnashram is not one of the 64 items mentioned by Srila Rupa Goswami in Rasamrita Sindhu. Yeah, so there are 64 angas of bhakti. We will study this in detail in Nectar of Devotion. And Varnashram is not one of those 64. But still, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that by following this system, because this system is created by Krishna himself. Yeah, Chatur Varnyam Maya Sreshta Guna Karma Vibhaga Saha. Yes, Krishna mentioned that. So, by following the Daiva Varnashram. Yes, so what kind of Varnashram we follow? Daiva Varnashram. That Varnashrama institution in connection with Krishna consciousness. Yeah, because Varnashram will elevate one to the platform of Sattva Gun. Yes, Varnashram is a big stepping stone. I would say Varnashram is a big stepping stone to help us to elevate our consciousness to the level of Sattva Gun. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, before he left his body, while he was laying down on his bed, yeah, he was talking about Varnashram. Yeah. Prabhupada, in some of his purport, mentioned that one of the purposes of the ISKCON movement is that to establish the Daiva Varnashram. Yeah. So, what is actually Varnashram? Yeah, it's not simply the idea of the four caste system, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and the Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. It's not simply that one. Yeah. But the Varnashrama system is none other than the Vedic style of living. Therefore, when we talk about Varnashram, the immediate picture will be cow protection and agriculture. Because this is the Brahmanical culture. So Vedic culture means Brahmanical culture. And Brahmanical culture means cow-centered culture. Because there is no point of Vedic life without the Brahmanas. And there is no point of the Brahmanas' life without the cow. Brahmanas, they are very much independent, very much depending on cows. Yeah. Therefore, when great kings in the past, when they are performing some yagyas, they would invite a lot of Brahmanas and they give charity in the form of cows and gold. Yes, because cows is actually how one measure the wealth in the past is by seeing how much land he has and how many cows. So the Kshatriyas, the kings, would invite the Brahmanas and give them a lot of cows in charity. Yeah, because Brahmana is depending so much on cows. So, but still, like in especially here in India, we see the caste system is very strong, right? Those who are born in the Brahmana family, they will claim themselves to be Brahmana. Yeah, and this also happening in Indonesia. But Srila Prabhupada clearly mentioned that he gave an example actually. He said that if one's father is a doctor, it doesn't mean that the son can be also a doctor unless he qualify himself to be a doctor, then he can be a doctor. Simply having a father of a doctor will not make you a doctor. So similarly, simply being born in the Brahmana family will not make one's Brahmana. Yeah. What are the qualities of Brahmana? Samo dhamma tapasaucham santir arjavam evacham jnanam vijnana asikam brahma karma svabhavajan. So these are the qualities of the Brahmanas. Yeah. So there are, of course, the Varnashram topic is a vast topic that we can have a big seminar on a separate day about this. But the idea is that when the Varnashram is performed without linking it in Krishna consciousness, that becomes mundane Varnashram. Yeah. But what Prabhupada teaches us is that we must follow the Daiva Varnashram. Yeah. So it doesn't matter whether one is Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas, or Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana. Whatever occupation that one has, it should be connected to Krishna. For example, cleaning. Cleaning is most likely Shudra type of work, right? But if one clean the temple, so in Krishna's eyes, the one who's performing arati to the deities, and the one who cleaned the floor in the temple, and the one who washed the dishes in the kitchen, these are equal in Krishna's eyes. These are all great service. It doesn't mean that one who performed the arati on the altar is greater than the one who cleaned the floor in the temple. So when service is done with a great attitude, with the correct mood, then it's pleasing to the Lord. So this is called the Daiva Varnashram. We have, for example, in the managerial position in the temple, there's temple president. So there is some subdivision of different departments, for example. Yeah, there is kitchen departments, there is DD departments. Yeah, there are so many other departments. Yes, account departments. But as long as all these people connecting their activities in Krishna consciousness, so they are all pleasing to the Lord. And that is called the divine activities, the Daiva. The word Daiva means divine. Yeah. So accounting is like most likely the occupation of the Vaishyas. Yeah. Archit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah. Prabhuji, I was also reading these days Canto 4 for Prabhuji Maharaj, and here it was talking about the Brahmin culture and the connection with the cows. And I couldn't really understand how cows are exactly connected to Brahmin culture. Just because the milk aspect and the butter aspect that goes into the yajna, or is there something more deeper connection with the cows and the Brahmin culture? Reason like
Okay. Everybody clear about Prabhu's question? So Prabhu is asking in the pastime of Prithu Maharaj. Yeah. And in that pastime, it is interesting that at that time there was kind of a drought. Yeah. So Mother Earth no longer produced enough food for the society. Yes, and Prithu Maharaj became angry and he aimed his arrow toward the earth. So Mother Earth, being terrified, the personification of Mother Earth turned herself into a cow. Yes. So, And Prithu Maharaj checked himself, not releasing his arrow because Mother Earth turned herself into a cow. So cows should be protected. So now the question is that how is the Brahmanas very much connected with the cows? Is that correct? Your question, Archit Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, the deeper significance of these.
Yes, yes. So, what are the duties of Brahmanas? Patan, patan, yajan, yajan, dana pratigraha. Yeah. So, patan means study. Patan means to teach. And then yajan, meaning performing yagya for oneself. And yajan, performing yagya for others. Dana, accepting charity. Pratigraha, giving charity. These are the 6 activities. Yeah. The sat karma of the Brahmanas. So, yajan, performing yagya is the duty of the Brahmanas. Then how to perform a yagya without a cow? What is most essential items, ingredients for yagya? Ghee. Yes. So Brahmana needs cows because ghee is produced from cows. Yes. And then cow dung is also used. You make the panchagavya for different ceremonies. For example, like in a griha pravesa, you need the panchagavya. While entering the house, you sprinkle the panchagavya all over the house. Yes, so the ceremonies, the ritual is performed by a Brahmana. Then without cows, Brahmana cannot live because he cannot perform the yagya. Yes. So that is one aspect. Yeah. So yagya aspect. And also definitely cows is amongst the animal, of course, cow is an animal, but it is most sattvic animals. Yes. And definitely we know that Krishna loves cows. Yes. The Brahmana is supposed to be loving to Krishna. Then there is a principle, you love me, love my dog. Cow is the pet of the Lord. So the Brahmana will give protection to the cows. Yeah. Taking care of the cows, maintaining the cows. Yeah. These are actually the duty of the 3 divisions of the society to protect the cows. Yeah, namely the Vaishyas, the Kshatriyas, and the Brahmanas. Because amongst these 4 Varnas, yes, Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Brahmana are considered to be the natural leader in the society. Vaishyas also the leaders. Yes, because they produce. They do agriculture, they do cow protection, they do trade. Yeah. Only the Sudras being very subordinate, serving the other 3 Varnas. So that is my response. How cows are very important in the Brahmana's life because Brahmana is supposed to perform yagya. Yeah. For himself and also for others. Yes. Of course, there is one book called the Satkriya Saradipika by Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. There everything is explained about the samskaras. Actually, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami mentioned that for the samskaras, for example, for the Namakarana, Chudakarana, Anaprasna, who performed this? The father. The father would chant this mantra. The father would do there is procedure called Satvika Vriddhi Sraddha, the Avahana. We are inviting different personalities into the kumbha, into the kalasas. Then when the father doesn't know how to do this, he will call the Brahmanas. And the Brahmana perform the rituals on behalf of the father. So, ghee is most essential. Yes. For the Brahmanas, Brahmana cannot live without ghee because he would perform yagya. He will do deity worship. What do we need for deity worship? The Panchagavya. Yeah. While doing Abhisheka, we need milk, we need yogurt, we need ghee. Yeah, these are coming from the cows. Of course, there are ghee made of buffalo milk, probably yogurt from buffalo milk, but Krishna preferred to have the cow products. Yes, so in deity worship and yagya, actually, deity worship and yagya performance are non-different. Deity worship is worshiping Krishna in the form of the deity that we can see, his face, his eyes, his form. But in yagya, one will see only fire. So yagya require a lot more of higher consciousness, because how you can see a fire, yeah, Lord Krishna's form in the fire. Because in the Vaishnava Padhyati, of course, like there are different Padhyati of performing yagyas, like the Smartas, they are doing differently. Yeah. But for the Vaishnava Padhyati, the Agni that we invite is not the demigod Agni. We are inviting the Agni who are the expansion of Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha. There are 56 different Agnis explained by Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are actually the expansion of Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha for different purposes. For different samskaras, different yagyas, we invite different Agnis. So these Agnis are none other than four-handed form of Lord Narayana. Then how can we meditate upon the Lord in the form of Agni? So we must have this kind of consciousness that I'm serving, I'm worshiping the Lord in the form of Agni, who's actually none other than Krishna. Yeah. So deity worship, yagya is very essential in the life of Brahmanas. Yeah. The only reason why devotees taking second initiation is in order to give them the chance to perform deity worship. If you take second initiation, I'm sorry, I'm just saying this. If you take second initiation, but you are not performing deity worship, then the sacred thread becomes burden for you. Really. So you can go back home, back to Godhead, simply by getting the first initiation, Harinam Diksha. Yes. And it doesn't mean that those who get second initiation is more advanced than those who are not getting second initiation. Some of our devotees having this misconception. Okay, the first year I'm Kanishta because I'm just joining the temple. I just joined Krishna consciousness, not yet initiating. When I get my first Diksha, I become Madhyama Adhikari. And then when I get my second initiation, I become Uttama Adhikari. That is wrong. Yes, you can become an Uttama Adhikari without getting second initiation. First initiation is enough to bring you to Goloka Vrindavan. The only reason why you get second initiation is to allow you to enter the altar to perform puja. Otherwise, don't take second initiation. It simply becomes a burden. Because this is a Brahmana's duty to perform puja, to do abhisheka. You need milk. That's how Brahmana cannot live without milk. Yes? Archit Prabhu, how's that sounds?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, just one follow-up question on that. So,
Sure.
since we know that in Satyuga, the primary worship was not the yajna, it was
Yes.
meditation.
Meditation, yes.
So, even that cows were not that important, or it just came when the yuga changes. Changed.
Okay. Yes. So the Bhagavatam confirmed, as you are rightly mentioned, that Kriteya Dhyayata Vishnu Tretayam Yajata Makaidi Drapat Paricharyaya Palautan Arikirtanat. Yeah. So in Satya Yuga, Tritaya Dhyayata Vishnu. Dhyaya means to meditate on Lord Vishnu. So are cows important or not for the Brahmanas during that time? Yes. Not only in the Treta Yuga, the Brahmanas need cows. Yeah, of course, like in Dwapara and Kali Yuga, even now we still performing fire sacrifices, Didi worship. Yeah, Didi worship. Why we do Didi worship? It's Dwapara Yuga. Why we do this fire yagya? It's Treta Yuga. Right? But what about Satya Yuga? Yes, still the cows are important. What are the role of the cows? Yeah, the role of the cows for agricultural purpose. Yes, and actually in Satya Yuga, although meditation is the Yuga Dharma for Satya Yuga, but still people are performing deity worship also and fire sacrifice. Yeah, so they offer some food, some bhoga to the deities. And how do they meditate? Yeah, so they have altar. They meditate on the Lord. Yeah, in what yuga the pastime of Dhruva is taking place?
Satyuga, no? Prabhuji?
Yes, exactly. What Dhruva did? He went to the forest. He made the deity from mud, the deity of Lord Narayan from mud, and meditate. Yes. So deity worship is already there. But the Yuga Dharma is meditation. Yes, meditate upon the deities. Yeah. So still, cow is having great importance in any of the yugas. Yeah. Okay. Nice question. Thank you. Let's continue. Yeah. This is the result of not following the scriptures. Yeah. Yas Sastra Virimutssrijya Avaktati Kamakarataha Na Sa Siddhim Avapnoti Na Sukam Na Param. He who discards scriptural injunction and acts according to his own whims attain neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. See, how many times Krishna mentioned here na? Yeah. Na sa siddhi mavapnoti, na sukam, na param gati. Yeah. No perfection, no happiness, no supreme destination. As described before, the Sastra Vidhi or the direction of the Sastra is given to the different castes and order of human society. Everyone is expected to follow these rules and regulations. If one does not follow them and acts whimsically according to his lust, greed, and desire, then he never will be perfect in his life. In other words, a man may theoretically know all these things, but if he does not apply them in his own life, then he is to be known as the lowest of mankind. The word kama karata is very significant. A person who knowingly violates the rules, act in lust. He knows that this is forbidden, but still he acts. This is called acting whimsically. He knows that this should be done, but still he does not do it. Therefore, he's called whimsical. Yeah. Anybody who doesn't follow scripture, yes, will not attain any perfection, will not attain any happiness, and what to speak of supreme destination. Yeah. Why we follow the four regulative principles? The four regulative principles is simply to make human to become human. Yeah. Otherwise, life will become animalistic. Yeah, without following the four regulative principles, because four regulative principles are connected to the four pillars of dharma. Satyam, Daya, Tapa, Saucham. We follow the scriptures to make us proper human being. Yes. Anybody who doesn't follow scripture will not attain highest perfection in their lives. Do you think Ravana, because there is some description that actually Ravana is very expert in chanting Vedic mantras. Yeah. In the Valmiki Ramayana, it is described that Ravana is very expert in the chanting of Vedic mantras. So one day, Indra was performing a yajna. So actually, Ravana and Indra, they are brothers, yeah, from different mothers. Yes, Aditi and Ditis are sisters. Okay, both are Kashyapa's wives. So one day Indra was performing a yajna because they know that Ravana is expert in the chanting of Vedic mantra, and Ravana's voice is so melodious. Yeah. So Indra thought that I would like to invite Ravana to become the Udgata. Yeah, Udgata is the one who chants the mantra chanter leaders in the yajna performance. Then Lord Brahma said, no, 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 better not, better don't invite her. But Indra said, no, no, he is very expert in chanting Vedic mantra. Then Ravana was invited. He came, yeah, he came. So while performing the yajna, so Agni was invited. And then Agni, being so pleased by the chanting of Ravana's, and then Agni told to his wife, Swaha, look, my dear wife, Ravana is chanting so nicely. Why don't you go there, appear personally, and bless him? And then she agreed. So Swaha came out from the fire. And then upon seeing the beauty of Swaha, what happened to Ravana now? He stopped chanting the mantras, he kidnapped Swaha and ran away. Therefore, realization is very important here. Yeah. So what you know, what you don't know. Sometimes you know what is to be done, but you don't do it. Sometimes you know what should not to be done, but still you do it. Yeah. So Ravana, although he's very expert in the chanting of the Vedic mantras, yeah, but it does not qualify him to be a great personality, because jnana without vijnana is useless. Yeah. Simply collecting information but doesn't have realization, then what is the use? Yeah. I many times mentioned that don't think that a thief doesn't know that stealing is forbidden. A thief would know perfectly that this stealing is not good, but still he doesn't. He has the information, he has the knowledge, but no realization. Just like Ravana. Yeah. Okay. Nasa silim avapnoti, na sukam, na param gati. No perfection, no happiness, and what to speak of supreme destination. Yeah. So these are the demoniac tendencies. Yeah. Result of not following the scriptures. Next, once you therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulation of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulation, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. As stated in the 15th chapter, all the rules and regulation of the Vedas are meant for knowing Krishna. If one understands Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita and becomes situated in Krishna consciousness, engaging himself in devotional service, he has reached the highest perfection of knowledge offered by the Vedic literature. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made this process very easy. He asked people simply to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and to engage in devotional service of the Lord and eat the remnants of foodstuff offered to the deity. One who is directly engaged in all of these devotional activities is to be understood as having studied all the Vedic literatures. He has come to the conclusion, perfect. So what is that verse that Srila Prabhupada refers in the 15th chapter? Anybody still remember? Vedaischa sarvaira aham eva vidyo. Yeah, Vedanta Krit Vedavid eva chaham. The goal of studying the Veda is to know Krishna. That's it. If after millions of lifetimes you study the Vedas and you still don't come to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and you have to surrender to Him, then it is sama eva kevalam. Yeah, simply a wasting of time. Yeah. Yovam evam masamudho janati purushottamaha sasarvavid ajantemam sarva bhavenava. Yeah, sasarvavid ajantemam. Those who know Krishna to be the Purushottama, sasarva, is perfect in all the knowledge. He knows everything. Yeah, because ultimately everything, all the knowledge should leading toward knowing about Krishna. Yeah. So that is the conclusion of the Vedas, to surrender to Krishna. And here Srila Prabhupada mentioned about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah. So how actually in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is described that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphasizing two most important things. Yeah. Of course, first is the chanting of the holy names, and second one is worshipping the deities. Yeah. But of course, Srila Prabhupada Swami explained there are five main potent angas of bhakti. Yeah. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Sankirtan, Bhagavat Sravana, Sri Mutiras, Mathura Basa, Sri Mutiras, Varnaya Seva. Yes, Sadhu Sangha associate with devotees, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavat Sravana, hearing, Mathura Vasa, residing in the holy dham, in the holy places. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that every house should become Vrindavan by making Krishna in the center of the house. Yes. Every house is a Vrindavan. Yeah. Then Mathura Vasa, Sri Murtiras Radhaya Seva, worshipping the deities with faith. Yeah. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed us to chant the holy names and engage in devotional service, partake in the prasadam. Yeah, partaking in the prasadam is very important. How many people, how many devotees, how many initiated devotees can maintain the standard, can promise to himself, to herself, that I will take only prasadam? Very hard. Yes. So taking prasadam is great things in life with the right attitude. Yeah. All right. So by following the scriptures, one gets elevation. Yeah. Continuation of the purport. One has to rise himself at least to the mode of goodness before the path to understanding the Supreme Lord can be opened. Without rising oneself to the standard of the mode of goodness, one remains in ignorance and passion, which are the cause of demoniac life. Those in the mode of passion and ignorance, they write the scriptures. They write the holy man, and they write the proper understanding of the Supreme Personality of God. They disobey the instructions of the spiritual master, and they do not care for the regulation of the scriptures. In spite of hearing the glories of devotional service, they are not attracted. Thus, they manufacture their own way of elevation. These are some of the defects of human society which lead to the demoniac status of life. If, however, one is able to be guided by a proper and bona fide spiritual master who can lead one to the path of elevation to the higher stage, then one's life becomes successful. Okay, so finally, Srila Prabhupada explained Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Beach. Yeah, Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Beach. And if one is fortunate enough to be guided by a bona fide spiritual master, then his life will be perfect. Because spiritual master is the Saksat Harit Veda, the direct representation of the Lord. He is the closest servant of the Lord. Yes, and he know the Lord's mind. So bona fide spiritual master is a person who knows Krishna perfectly and will give Krishna to his disciples. A bona fide guru is a person who is addicted to God. Yes, I think I told the story of how George Harrison was asking Srila Prabhupada that Swamiji, there are so many Babas, so many yogis, so many gurus coming to the West, but how to recognize who is real guru, who is not? Prabhupada said, just like how to recognize the hippies, yeah, they are addicted to drugs, So Prabhupada mentioned, real guru is a person who is addicted to God. Yeah, they will not claim him. They will not claim themselves to be God. Yeah, rather they will give God to you. So that is the basis of bona fide spiritual master. Yeah. All right. So that's end chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita. So come back to the beginning of this chapter, just to round up again. So in the beginning, we see Krishna briefly in 3 verses explain to Arjuna what are the divine qualities. And then Krishna further explained what are the demoniac qualities, what are their actions, and then what is the result of their action, what are the consequences of their actions, what are their destiny, and how Krishna treat them. And finally, Krishna gave us the information here that we must give up the 3 gates leading to the hell. Yeah, Kama, Krodha, and Lobha, because these are the 3 main qualities which are possessed by those who are demoniac. And those who are demoniac, naturally, they don't follow scriptures. Yeah, if you don't follow scriptures, you cannot attain perfection. Okay. Any questions or comment on chapter 16? If no comment, I would assume that all of you now becoming a great scholar in chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita, understanding everything. And we will continue to chapter 17. Yes. So, chapter 17, chapter entitled The Division of Faith. There are 3 types of faith corresponding to and evolving from the 3 modes of material nature. Acts performed by those whose faith is in passion and ignorance yield only impermanent material result. Actually, these are the discussion that we already touched in chapter 7 and 9. Yeah, regarding the demigod worship, regarding the impersonalists. Whereas act performing goodness in accord with scriptural injunctions, purify the heart and lead to pure faith in Lord Krishna and devotion to him. Okay. Text 1 to 10 will be discussing about faith, worship, and food in the modes. Okay. Arjuna's question we'll see in the beginning. Krishna answers by describing how the modes of material nature determine a person's faith, worship, and eating habits. Okay. Interesting here. Even Krishna talks about food. Even Krishna talks about eating. Yes. How many of us conscious of what we are eating actually? Yeah. Because sometimes we think that, oh, I can skip my japa. but I cannot skip my prasadam. Yeah, because this is very essential. Even Prabhupada mentioned that first thing is food. Yes, Prabhupada mentioned first thing is food. When there is food, 50% of the problem in the society is solved. Yeah. Therefore, Prabhupada actually, he would encourage the devotees to establish farm communities because food is very essential, not just to fill up the belly, but how Srila Prabhupada describe prasadam? What is prasadam? It's actually a food grown by devotees, harvested by devotees, cooked by devotees, offered by devotees. It is prasadam. Yeah. But of course, like seems to be for many of us impractical, especially those who are in the city, who doesn't have land, who's have only 2 BHK flat. Yeah, it's hard. Yes, so easier just to work in some offices, buy some vegetables in the market, and we don't know how they grow the vegetables. Yes, therefore even Krishna here in chapter 17 would talk about food. There are food in the mode of goodness, food in the mode of passion, food in the mode of ignorance. Yeah. So we will see this. Because what we eat will build actually our character. Yeah. Therefore, there is a saying, you are what you eat. Because eating is very essential. We eat all the time, every single day. Yeah. Next one. This is Arjuna's question. Arjuna inquire, "O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow scripture, who do not follow the principles of scripture, but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance?" So this is the continuation from the end of chapter 16. Yes, because chapter 16 at the end we discuss about the importance of following scriptures. Now Arjuna is asking, what if they don't follow scriptures, but they just do some kind of worship out of their imagination? What are their position? Yeah, Prabhupada mentioned, if one with faith follows some rules which are not mentioned in the scriptural injunction, what is his position? This doubt of Arjuna's is to be cleared by Krishna. Are those who create some sort of God by selecting a human being and placing their faith in him, worshipping in goodness, passion, or ignorance? Do such persons attain the perfectional stage of life? Is it possible for them to be situated in real knowledge and elevate themselves to the highest perfectional stage? Do those who do not follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but who have faith in something and worship gods and demigods and man, attain success in their effort? Arjuna is putting this question. Why would you think Arjuna put down this question to Krishna? Why he asked these kind of questions? It is not that because Arjuna is in ignorance. This is for our benefit. Because nowadays, Gita Mataji, like to comment on that?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. It is
Yes,
for our
please.
sake, like others to know what it is, how to follow. He's asking.
Yes, exactly. So it is for our sake, for our benefit. Thank you. Yes, because nowadays there are so many people, they seems to be following some rules and regulation, but not from a bona fide scripture. They have invented these rules and regulation and accept someone to be God. Yeah. So this has happened during, I don't know, nowadays maybe it's happened. Yeah, but the clear example is that during Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time, there was one Babaji who was claiming himself to be a god, yeah, to be the incarnation of Mahavishnu. And there are some people who believes that, and start preaching to other people that yes, he is actually God. Even he shows some magic trick that he could create fire from, on the top of his head. Yeah. So this kind of cheap God is invented only by the childish and foolish man. Yeah. Another example is that like Paundraka in 10 cantos Srimad Bhagavatam in chapter 66. Yes. How there are some people, some childish men mention to Paundraka, oh Paundraka, you are actually the original Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And these people spreading the rumor like that, and other fools also believe that Paundraka is God. And then finally Paundraka believed that himself is God. Yeah. So there are some rules and regulations followed by some people, not from the bona fide scriptures. So what are their position? That was Arjuna's question. Because these things are happening nowadays. Yes. The Supreme Personality of God has said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied souls, one's faith can be of three kinds: in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now hear about this. Okay, Prabhupada said, blind faith in a particular mode of nature cannot have a person become elevated to the fractional state. One has to consider things carefully with intelligence in the association of a bona fide spiritual master. Thus, one can change his position to a higher mode of nature. Text 3. O son of Bharata, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be particular faith, to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. Okay. Everyone has a particular type of faith, regardless of what he is. Therefore, according to the position of the heart in contact with a particular mode of material nature, one's faith is established. It should be understood that if one's heart is in the mode of goodness, his faith is also in the mode of goodness. If his heart is in the mode of passion, his faith is also in the mode of passion. And if his heart is in the mode of darkness, illusion, his faith is also thus contaminated. Thus, we find different types of faith in this world, and there are different types of religions due to different types of faith. The real principle of religious faith is situated in the mode of goodness, pure goodness. But because the heart is tainted, we find different types of religious principles. Thus, according to different types of faith, there are different kinds of worship. Next, for men in the mode of goodness, worship demigods. Those who are in the mode of passion worship the demons. And those in the mode of ignorance worship the ghosts and spirit. The demigods include Brahma, Shiva, and others such as Indra, Chandra, and the sun god. There are various demigods. Those in goodness worship a particular demigod for a particular purpose. Similarly, those who are in the mode of passion worship the demons. We recall that during the Second World War, a man in Calcutta worshipped Hitler because thanks to that war, he had amassed a large amount of wealth by dealing in the black market. Similarly, those in the mode of passion and ignorance generally select a powerful man to be God. They think that anyone can be worshipped as God, and that the same result will be obtained. Okay. Here I find, I would say, a little bit contradictory, but of course, whatever explained by Srila Prabhupada should be considered to be true. Yes. So in chapter 3, Krishna explained no, not that one. not in chapter 3, I think in chapter 7. Yeah. Kamaistai Krita Jnana Prapadyante Nyadevataha. Tam tam niyamamaskaya prakritya niyatasaya. So Kamaistai Krita Jnana Prapadyante Nyadevataha. So those who have a lot of lust, kama, yeah, and Kamastai Krita Jnana, their knowledge is actually bewildered. Yeah, their knowledge is lost. Prapadyante Nyadevataha. They will worship the demigods. So kama is the product of mode of passion, right? But here Krishna mentioned that those who are in the mode of goodness, they will worship the demigods. How to understand this? Because still demigod worship is also mentioned in the scriptures. Prabhupada mentioned for demigod worshippers, people would worship different demigods for some particular purpose. So how would you reconcile this point here, considering the two verses? Yes, in one place, Krishna mentioned that those who are in the mode of passion, those who are full of karma, they will worship the demigods. Yeah, Prapadyante Nyadevata. They will worship the demigod because demigod will award them the result very quickly. But here, Krishna mentioned that those who are in the mode of goodness, they will worship the demigod. Yeah. So how to understand this? Anybody would like to comment on that? Yeah. Man in the mode of goodness worship demigods. Those who are in the mode of passion worship the demon. And those who are in the mode of ignorance, they worship the ghost and spirit. I would like to hear some comments from all these scholars of the Bhakti Sastri.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. So one is about goodness and passion and ignorance. What is the other words that you were talking to? There was a breakage in that.
There is a verse, I think that's from chapter 7. Yeah, Kamaistai Rita Jnana Prapadyante Nyadevataha. Those who are in the mode of passion, their heart is full of kama. Yeah, Prapadyante Nyadevataha. They will go to the demigods, they will worship demigods for the fulfillment of their material desires. But here in text number 4 of this 17th chapter, Krishna mentioned that those who are in the mode of goodness, they will worship the demigods. Those who are in passion, they will worship the demons. Those who are in ignorance, they will worship the ghost and spirit. So now, seems to be contradicted here that in one place Krishna mentioned that those who are in the mode of passion will worship the demigods. But here Krishna mentioned that those who are in the goodness, they worship the demigods. Anybody? Oh, okay. Sudama Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think here Krishna wants to tell like those who are transcendentally situated, they worship him. That's why he's mentioning here those who are in goodness, they worship devas. Krishna want to say that those who are transcendentally situated, they worship Vasudeva, Krishna.
Okay, good point. Thank you. Those who are transcendentally situated, they will worship Krishna because the mode of goodness is still in the material world, right? It is not Suddha Sattva, it's just Sattva. So those who are in Sattva, they will worship him. Good point. Thank you. Archit Agrawal, Prabhu.
Hare
Would like
Krishna,
to.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yeah. Prabhuji, I think I'm entirely not sure, just speculating.
Oh,
Is it
yes.
because this last three sections were dedicated to Jnanis rather than Bhaktas. So because of that, their consciousness is a little lower than the Bhaktas. So a Jnani would feel that for a Jnani, even if he's worshipping a demigod, Krishna is saying that that is something in the mode of goodness. Eventually, you will come back to me. But for a devotee, it is not good because your consciousness is higher and you should know why you should worship only me. I'm not sure. I'm just talking like this.
Okay. It is a very thought-provoking comment, I would say, that Krishna is addressing the audience with a lower level of consciousness, I would say here. Yeah. So still, you see, like there is a sloka also mentioning in the Bhagavad Gita. I think that's in the chapter. Where was that? In chapter 14. Urdhvam gacchati sattvasta madhye tistanti rajasaha. So, Urdhvam gacchati sattvasta. Those who are in the mode of goodness, they will be elevated to the higher planetary system. Madhye tistanti rajasaha. Those who are in the mode of rajaguna, they will stay on this earth. Madhye tistanti raja jaganya guna vrittisto ado gachanti tamasaha. So ado gachanti tamasaha. Those who are in the mode of ignorance, they will be going down. Yeah. So that's a good comment that at least worshipping the demigods is still okay for those who have lower consciousness. That will elevate them. Yeah, it's good comment. Okay, let's hear from Gitamrita Krishna Sevini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. They want to worship for a particular purpose and they don't want to follow the scriptures. So that is why it is a contrast, like they are not Siddha Sattva, as she said, because they particularly wish something and they want to have it immediately. So they don't want to follow the scripture.
Yeah, nice. Because as I mentioned also earlier, that demigod worship is one of the injunctions of the Vedas, of the scriptures. Although it is in the Karma Kandiya section of the scripture, still, those who are worshipping the demigods, they are following different rules and regulations mentioned in the scripture. Yeah, good comment. Okay, very nice. Anuradha Mataji, earlier you raised your hand. Can contribute also.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, with respect to the passion, we can see that Ravana was also very passionate and he was basically doing karma kanda, right? He's doing puja and everything for his own self. Okay, he's not in the mode of goodness, but he's rather in the mode of passion. Whereas if you see Brahmanas, they're also doing deity worship and other things, but in the mode of goodness. So that's something, okay, I wanted to mention.
Okay. Very nice. Thank you. So here is some thought, okay, about that. Yes, because in the end of at the end of the chapter 16, Krishna is talking about following the scriptures. And it is described that those who are following the scriptures, they are having the qualities of the divine nature. And those who are not following the scriptures, they are considered to be demoniac. So now we understand that those who are in the, those who develop divine qualities, So they are naturally in the mode of goodness, sattva guna, right? So the demigods are actually the jivas who are actually situated on the sattva guna platform. Yeah. But of course, we see like there are some occasion that when Indra becomes like, became arrogant, and that is a mode of passion, right? But in general, the demigods being part of the Virat Rupa of the Lord, who is actually engaged in the managerial work of the universe, they are actually considered to be in the mode of goodness. Yeah. And for those who are in the lower consciousness, worshiping demigod is not at all bad. It's not at all bad compared to worshiping demons and the ghosts. Yeah. Because even Krishna mentioned in chapter 7 that Yajantya Vidi Purvaka, right? They worship the demigods, but actually they want to worship me. But they just misplace their surrender. Yajanti means surrender. They misplace their surrender. They want to worship God, but they don't know who's the supreme God. Yeah. But then Krishna mentioned that the demigod worshippers actually indirectly worshiping Krishna. Yeah. But they just don't have the complete knowledge. Like the person who has the complete knowledge would water the leaf of a tree, right? But he has good intention. He wants to, maintain the life of the tree. Just he has no complete knowledge. But those who are in complete knowledge, they will water the root of a tree. Yes. So on that respect and perspective, that why Krishna mentioned here, those who are in the mode of goodness will worship the demigod, because they are following the rules and regulations mentioned in the Vedas, mentioned in the Sastra. And Vedas is created by the Lord himself. Yes, Veda Pranihito Dharmo. So the Vedas is created by the Lord himself for different purposes, for different levels of consciousness of the people. Yeah. Therefore, in the Vedas, there are so many sections. Yeah. Because not everybody will be ready at once to be Krishna conscious. Right? Not everybody is ready to become a devotee. Then, rather than worshiping some ghost, some spirit, and they can worship the demigods. We have studied this in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, the yoga ladder. It starts from Karma Kanda, demigod worship. Yes, and then Karma Yoga, elevate more to Jnana Yoga, and then Niskama Karma Yoga. Yeah, and it becomes Krishna conscious. Yeah. So I hope that will settle the matter up to this point. We'll continue. Chapter 17, text 5 and 6. Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish and who torture the material elements of the body as well as the soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. There are persons who manufacture modes of austerity and penance, which are not mentioned in the scriptural injunction. For instance, fasting for some ulterior purpose, such as to promote a purely political end, is not mentioned in the scriptural directions. The scriptures recommend fasting for spiritual advancement, not for some political end or social purpose. Person who takes such austerities are, according to the Bhagavad Gita, certainly demoniac by such activities, not only in the combination of material elements of which the body is constructed, distributed, but also the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself being within the body. Such unauthorized fasting or austerities for some political ends are certainly very disturbing to others. They are not mentioned in the Vedic literature. A demoniac person may think that he can force his enemy or other parties to comply with his desire by this method, but sometimes one dies by such fasting. Srila Prabhupada's purport for me is interesting. Yeah. If I don't read this purport, I will not come to know that there are some people in this world who are fasting for some political purpose. Yeah, but certainly as devotees, we are fasting in some particular days, which are already being mentioned in the scriptures, such as Hari Bhakti Vilas, for example. Yeah, we should fast on Ekadasi, how to observe Ekadasi, in some acharyas appearance, disappearance, the Lord's incarnation appearance. So we fast. So tomorrow is Balaram Purnima, Balaram Jayanti. We fast, right? Because it is the injunction of the scripture. So how to observe the festival, we also follow. Now those who just invented the ways of their own austerities without following the scriptures is simply torturing the body, and that's actually hurting to Krishna, not only for the jivas but also to Krishna. Because as Srila Prabhupada rightly mentioned that Krishna is also residing within that body. One of the famous example is that in Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 5, how the Jain Dharma appeared after the disappearance of Lord Rishabhadev. Yeah, after the disappearance of Lord Rishabhadev, so there's one man who saw the incident that Lord Rishabhadev entering the fire in a forest. Yeah, and then he invented a new religion, and that is the Jain Dharma. And then these people are used to be very austere, They stitch their mouths, they don't want to talk, they pluck their hair, yeah, and so on and so forth. So this kind of austerities, which are not recommended in the Vedas, which are man-made, I would say, that is simply torturing to the body, nor do they are happy and what to speak of the Lord. Yeah. Another point across to my mind is about Srila Prabhupada's purport mentioning about there is one man in Calcutta who's worshiping Hitler during the Second World War. Yeah. So some people would worship human and consider that human to be God. Yeah, it is interesting. So it is in the mode of passion, actually. Yeah. Yes, Archit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I had one question, but then when you
Mm.
finished the purport, I got three questions.
Go ahead.
So, yeah. The first question being, about Karwa Chauth Vrat that ladies take for their husband's good long life.
Mm.
So, is it? I think this is the this is in the mode of passion, or and also it is. Is it recommended in Shastras? Because I was reading somewhere that it is a worship of moon.
Yes.
So, just wanted to
So
know.
yes. Um, there are some rituals that are performed by a wife for the protection of the husband, giving a long life and good, um, let's say, material prosperities. Yes, so there are some rituals mentioned in the Vedas. Definitely, that is part of the Karma Kandya section. But depending on which angle you see it, from the angle of devotee aspect, so it is considered to be passion. Yeah, because we just need to chant Hare Krishna, worship the deities, pray to Krishna, pray to Lord Nrsimhadev for the protection of our husband, right? But for some people who are non-devotees, yes, it is recommended for them to worship moon, yeah, pray to Chandra and ask for the health, long life of the husband. Yes, so from that aspect, it is considered to be the mode of goodness. Yeah, because worshiping demigod is also in the mode of goodness, although with some material aspiration and motivation. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Second.
Second question I had is, when you said that Jain Dharma, too much of austerity is an unnecessary torture to the body. But if you see the overall Jain community, they are quite peaceful, but they
Yes.
are passionate. I agree, they are passionate for money and other things. They do this, but also they don't eat onion garlic,
Yes.
root vegetables, but they seems to be very, very sattvic in nature.
Mm.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Yeah, one time actually I went to Calcutta. I went to Calcutta for my dental treatment 2 years ago, and then I was very hungry, you know, and ISKCON Mandir Govindas was so far from that place. And I was asking, like, is there any vegetarian restaurant? Yeah. So I'm revealing to all of you here, I also sometimes, in some particular situation, I don't eat prasada. And then the dentist said that, oh, we have canteen here. We have the stall where they sell the vegetarian food. And I said, maybe they use onion and garlic. They said, no, 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 no. These are Jain people. They don't even eat onion and garlic. So I went there, you know. So rather than I die, then I just ate there. Yes, you rightly mentioned that these Jain people seems to be very sattvic also. But yeah, what Srimad Bhagavatam described that how actually these Jain people also used to be very austere. Sorry. And the point of the discussion is that any practice that torturing to the body, which are not mentioned in the Vedas, then it is considered to be in the mode of passion and ignorance. Can find out more. I mean, like, I'm not blaspheming any religious practices here. I respect them. Yeah, because they are also like, when I met them, like, I say Hare Krishna, so they said Hare Krishna also. Like, you know, I was wearing dhoti, tila, kantimala with the japa, so they know that I'm a Hare Krishna. So, yeah, we can see from different perspective and angle. Okay.
I was
Third,
always, yes, I always, I was always curious to know about the Rishabh Deva and Jain Dharma origin. I am still in fourth canto. I'll read sometime the fifth canto. Then
yeah,
I'll have some questions.
it is in the fifth canto, chapter 5 and 6. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
That's my third question is when you mentioned about Hitler being worshipped in Kolkata. So on generally, we say that if you worship demigod, they derive power. Even
Yes.
Krishna says that if you do the yajna, so this part goes there. So
Yeah.
generally, if a man is worshipped in a temple, right, does he get some benedictions on some power or some material benefit because of
No,
the blessings by others?
no. It's just simply ignorance. I I remember one time I went for a preaching program in some village here in West Bengal. And in one of the houses that I visited there, so they are keeping the picture of Amitabh Bachchan. Yes. They put on a nice table his picture and give him garlands and do arati. And I was asking why you are performing arati to this Bollywood actor. She said, he's nice man. So it's like, why would you worship such a person? I mean, like, if you worship some acharya, maybe okay, you know. Just he's a big fan of Amitabh Bachchan, then worship Amitabh Bachchan. But what benediction he gets? Nothing.
No, Prabhuji, I was asking for Amitabh Bachchan because many
Yes.
are praying for him in this
Uh,
way. He get benefited.
how the person pray for him? By worshipping the demigods and then asking the demigods to give benediction to him?
No, I'm asking is that since if you are praying for someone, if you're worshiping for someone, this is that prayer works generally.
Yes, my question is that to whom you are praying. For example, if you are sick, I hope not, okay? This is just an example. If you are sick, then I'm praying to Lord Nrsingadev. Please cure this nice devotee. That's a prayer. But if you simply pray, but to whom you pray, praying means there is an object of prayer. Isn't it?
Yes, agree.
Then
Got it.
if you, yeah, so it's like childish. It's of no use, I would say. Yeah, because praying means there is a person whom you are praying. Yeah, there is an object that you are talk to that person, whether you are simply glorifying him or you would like to ask something. That is prayer. Yes, Srila Rupa Goswami explained there are two types of prayers. The first prayer is that you are repeating the prayers which are already given, which are already cited by some great devotees like Kunti Stuti, Gajendra Stuti, Brahma Samhita. These are prayers which are already cited by some great devotees. And if you go to the front of the deities of the Lord, you are reciting these prayers just to glorify the Lord. That is one type of prayer. Another type of prayer is that you are revealing your heart to the Lord. Using your own word, glorify him. You ask for something, for example, that is prayer also. Yeah. So prayer means there is an object, a person to whom you are communicating. You are praying for somebody else, that's very good. Yeah. But if you are praying, for example, like Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, I'm praying for his health, for example, but to whom you are praying? If to nobody, then how? For me, it doesn't even make sense. Yeah, I'm sorry to say. All right. It's
Thank you.
already nice questions, by the way. I always appreciate any question being asked. Yeah. By the way, it's already 9:30 and we reach text number 6. Okay. We will continue on Tuesday, yeah, evening at 8 o'clock. Yeah, please read the rest of the chapter. I'm hoping that on Tuesday we'll finish chapter 17. Yeah. And soon will be your exam for unit 3. Be ready. Okay. All right. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. By the way, thank you so much. I really appreciate that you sacrifice your time. I'm not having the intention to do this, but somehow it's happened. Yeah. I'm just a normal human being that sometimes it's happened. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.